I ended my engagement to my fiancée after she wanted a break to explore her ex. I sold our house and disappeared. I called off my engagement. After my fiancée told me she needed a break to reconnect with her ex, of all people, I made a bold decision. I sold the house we bought together and vanished from her world. Hey everyone. It's been a long time, feels like forever, but I'm finally ready to talk about what's been going on in my life. Here's the thing, up until recently, I truly believed I was going to marry the woman I'd spend the rest of my life with, Maya, 26 years old. I'm 27 now. We were together for 4 years, and honestly, I thought we had a strong foundation. But now, looking back, I'm stuck wondering how I didn't catch the signs sooner. I met Maya at a friend's birthday party, one of those gatherings where everyone knows someone, and we just clicked right away. She had this sharp wit, total confidence, and a take-no-crap attitude that I really liked. I'd dated before, but no one ever seemed to get me like she did. Things moved fast, we really connected, and by the end of our first year, we were already living together. Everything just felt right. We seemed aligned on the big stuff: careers, marriage, eventually raising a family. Maya worked freelance as a graphic designer, while I was managing projects at a tech company. Our schedules synced up nicely, which made day-to-day life pretty smooth. It wasn't glamorous, but it was good. For a while, we talked on and off about getting married, but it wasn't until last year that I finally popped the question. It wasn't anything extravagant, just a quiet dinner at home, just the two of us. But she seemed over the moon. Tears, hugs, and an immediate yes. That night, we started sketching out our future together. A wedding in the fall. Something intimate with close friends and family. A small venue by the lake. It felt like the pieces were falling into place, at least that's what I thought. At first, the warning signs were subtle, easy to brush off. They showed up as tiny shifts in behavior, little inconsistencies I didn't want to think too hard about. Like how her excitement for the wedding started to fizzle out a few months in. At the beginning, she was all in, sending me Pinterest boards, obsessing over wedding dresses, asking if I liked tulips or roses better for the table centerpieces. Then, out of nowhere, the interest just faded. I'd ask something simple like, "Hey, did you pick your bridesmaids yet?" And she'd give me a half-hearted shrug. "Still thinking about it," she'd say, like it didn't matter. And the same thing started happening with the dress, the cake, the music. Every single decision we used to be excited about suddenly became something she wanted to push off. "There's still plenty of time," she'd say. The whole wedding was starting to feel like an afterthought. I told myself it was just nerves or stress. After all, wedding planning can be overwhelming, right? And Maya had been juggling a bunch of client deadlines at work. I figured she'd bounce back eventually. What I didn't understand at the time was that her disinterest wasn't about wedding stress, it was about our relationship. Then came the moment that really shook me. We were out with friends one night when someone brought up this TikTok challenge. You've probably seen it. The one where you're supposed to answer personal questions with a straight face, no judgment allowed. It was all fun and games until someone asked, "If you could relive one past relationship, which one would it be?" Without missing a beat, Maya said, "Oh, probably Zach." Just like that. Zach. Her ex from college. The same guy who cheated on her. The second she said it, the whole room went uncomfortably quiet. She laughed nervously and tried to backpedal. "I mean, not that I actually would. He was just a big part of my past, that's all." I wanted to say something right then and there, but we were with friends, so I let it go, for the moment. Later that night, when we were alone, I brought it up. I asked her, "Why Zach? What makes you say you'd want to go back to that?" She just shrugged and waved it off like it didn't matter. "It was a dumb game, Jake. Don't read into it so much," she said with this awkward grin, then changed the subject like nothing had happened. I didn't push it. I didn't want to start a fight over something that might have been meaningless. But deep down, that answer stuck with me. And from that moment on, her behavior started to shift in ways I couldn't ignore. She was glued to her phone more than usual, grinning at her screen like she was sharing some inside joke. Her excuses for not spending time together started piling up. "Sorry, I've got a ton of work tonight," she'd say. Or, "I promised my mom I'd swing by this weekend." Nothing she said felt blatantly shady, but it all added up to me becoming less of a priority. And then came the night that changed everything. It was a Friday. I got home from work earlier than usual, hoping we could unwind with some takeout and a show, just chill for the night. But as soon as I walked in, something felt off. Maya was on the couch with her laptop open, but she wasn't typing or reading. She was just staring at the screen, totally zoned out. "Hey, I'm home," I said, trying to break the tension. "You're early," she replied, like it was a bad thing. I brushed it off, headed to the kitchen, and started pulling things out for dinner. But the silence in the house was so heavy, it felt like I was walking through fog. Usually, she'd ask how my day went, or start chatting about hers. That night? Nothing. Just silence. Eventually, I turned and asked, "Is something wrong?" She closed the laptop slowly and looked at me. "Actually, yeah. There's something I need to talk to you about." My heart sank. You know that feeling when you just know something bad's about to hit, and you're powerless to stop it? That was me, just standing there in the kitchen, gripping a spatula, trying not to panic. I walked over and sat down across from her. "Okay," I said. "What's going on?" She hesitated, like she was searching for the right words. And then, just like that, she said it. "I've been thinking about us. And about Zach." I almost laughed in disbelief. "Zach? Seriously? What does he have to do with anything?" She bit her lip and looked away. "I think I need some space to figure things out. I want to take a break. I need to see if there's still anything there with him." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "You want a break, so you can go date your ex?" I asked, trying to stay calm. "Are you out of your mind, Maya? We're engaged." "It's not like that," she said quickly, like she was trying to smooth over a scratch that cut too deep. "I just need to know for sure that I'm making the right choice. If it doesn't work out with him, I promise I'll come back." That's when I realized just how bold she was being. She honestly thought I'd wait around while she went off to explore old feelings, to figure out if I was her second choice. Something inside me shifted right then and there. I didn't yell. I didn't lose it. I just sat there, staring at her, wondering how I'd missed all the signs. At first, I had no idea what to even say. My fiancée had just told me she wanted a break, to see if there was still something between her and her ex, Zach. How do you even respond to that without losing it? Eventually, I found my voice. "So, what exactly does this break mean to you?" I asked, trying to keep my tone steady, even though my stomach was in knots. She straightened up in her seat, almost like she'd been waiting for this part. "I think we need some space," she said. "Time to figure things out." She told me she was going to see if her feelings for Zach were real, and that I should take this time to reflect on us, too. The nerve of that nearly made me laugh. "Hold on a second," I said, leaning forward. "You're telling me you want to date your ex, but I should sit here and reflect?" It was like she didn't even hear how absurd that sounded. She let out a sigh, clearly annoyed. "This isn't about you doing something wrong, Jake," she said, like she was explaining something to a child. "This is about me figuring out what I need." The way she spoke, the way she wouldn't look me in the eye, it felt rehearsed. Like she'd already made up her mind, and this whole conversation was just a formality. "You do realize this is insane, right?" I said under my breath. "You don't put your engagement on pause so you can go play what if with some guy who cheated on you." Her expression hardened. That's when I saw it, just how stubborn she could be. "I'm not asking for permission, Jake," she said. "I'm telling you what I need." That hit differently. I wasn't just hurt anymore, I was pissed. I stood up and started pacing, trying to shake off the frustration. "So let me get this straight," I said. "You're just going to pack a bag and head over to Zach's place? That's your master plan?" "No," she snapped. It's not like that. I don't know what it looks like yet, I just know I need clarity before we go any further. I owe it to myself to make the right choice. Oh, you owe it to yourself? I said, laughing bitterly. And what about what you owe me? We're engaged, Maya. We're supposed to be building a future together. And now you're saying you need to test drive your ex just to make sure I'm the right one? I never said you weren't good enough. She shot back, her voice rising. But if we're going to spend the rest of our lives together, I have to be sure. And right now, I'm not. That was it. She wasn't just curious about Zach, she was doubting me. After 4 years, after everything we planned, she still wasn't sure. It hit me like a brick. She truly didn't grasp how hurtful or ridiculous this all was. In her mind, this was a reasonable request. Like I was just going to sit here twiddling my thumbs while she wandered off to see if her ex still made her heart flutter. I stopped pacing and stared at her, really looked at her. You know what? I said, keeping my voice calm and flat. Fine. Take your break. She blinked. That caught her off guard. Jake, I'm not trying to hurt you, she said softly. I need space to figure things out. I nodded slowly, my expression unreadable. If that's what you need, I said. She hesitated, probably expecting me to beg or argue. When I didn't, she stood up, opened her laptop, and mumbled. I'll stay at my mom's for a while. This isn't forever, she added, like that was supposed to make me feel better. We'll talk once I've had some time. Okay, I replied flatly. She gave me one last look, maybe searching for some kind of reaction, then disappeared into the bedroom. I heard her zipping up bags and tossing things around. I just stayed on the couch, silent. On the outside I looked calm, but inside my thoughts were racing. She wanted a break? Fine. Let her have one. A few minutes later, the front door clicked shut. She was gone. Probably thinking she'd left me behind to stew in doubt and heartbreak. What she didn't know was that I had no intention of sitting around and doing nothing. She could go chase her little fantasy. I had other plans now. There was no way this story was going to end how she imagined. Update 1. Thanks to everyone who shared their thoughts and advice on my last post. A lot's happened this week, and I figured I owed an update. First of all, I really appreciate this community. The support you've given me, seriously, meant a lot. A bunch of you said not to just sit around waiting, and you were right. I've been busy. Very busy. First thing I did? I called up my best friend, Chris. We've been tight since college, and he's not the type to sugarcoat anything. After I told him the whole story, he showed up with pizza, and we spent the night talking strategy. Dude, he said, you realize she's going to come crawling back when Zach turns out to be the same clown he was in college, right? He wasn't wrong. The more we talked, the clearer it became. I couldn't just sit back and wait. This wasn't about revenge. This was about taking control of my life again. I started with the house. What Maya seemed to forget, or maybe never really paid attention to, was that the place is entirely in my name. She always talked like it was ours. Always fussing about curtain colors and paint swatches like she was the one signing the mortgage. She wasn't. So on Monday morning, first thing, I called a realtor. She came by, took a look, and we agreed to list the house immediately. Turns out, the market in our area is hot right now. We've already got a few serious buyers lined up. Maya has no clue. She probably thinks I'm sitting here, miserable, in the house we used to share, just waiting for her to make up her mind. Not even close. Next, I started clearing her out of my space. You remember those live, laugh, love signs she made me hang in the kitchen? Gone. Those decorative pillows she insisted we had to have? Donated. Her clothes, her stuff, everything she left behind, I boxed it all up. But I didn't just toss it out or dump it on the porch. Nope. I got smart. I hired a moving company to deliver it all to her mom's house. Every last bit. I even included a short note. Here's your stuff. Good luck with Zach. Some of you might call that petty, but I see it differently. This wasn't about being cruel, it was about closure. She wanted space? Well, now she has plenty. The most surprising part was how people started reacting. Mutual friends began reaching out, trying to figure out what happened. I didn't badmouth her. I didn't make her the villain. I just calmly explained the truth. Maya decided she needed to revisit her past before she could commit to our future. I decided I'm not going to be anyone's second choice. You'd be amazed at how people respond when you give them honesty without drama. No yelling. No accusations. Just the facts. It's kind of wild how quickly the story changes when you stop trying to control it. I've been making other moves too, not just in my personal life. For a while now, I've been eyeing a position at our company's West Coast branch. I finally pulled the trigger and sent in the application. If the house sells, and all signs are pointing that way, and I land this new role, I'll be starting fresh across the country. A brand new life. A clean slate. Meanwhile, Maya's been trying to reach out. It started with cheerful, surface-level texts like, "Hope you're doing okay." But those soon turned more serious, especially after she realized I wasn't sitting around, waiting for her return. I was actually moving on. Yesterday, she hit full panic mode. Her mom told her the boxes had been dropped off. I guess that made it all real. "What are you doing? Why are you acting like this is the end?" she asked, practically begging. I kept it short, because it is the end, Maya. You made your decision. Now I'm making mine. She broke down crying on the phone. Said she just needed time to figure things out. Accused me of being rash, said this wasn't what she meant when she asked for space. "What did you expect?" I asked her, trying not to lose it. "That I'd just sit here like some loyal puppy while you took your ex for a spin?" She kept sobbing. "But what if I realize you're the one I want?" "Then maybe," I said, "you'll learn not to take people for granted." And with that I hung up. Strangely enough, I wasn't even angry anymore. Just clear. Focused. Every box I taped shut, every decision I made, it all felt like I was slowly reclaiming pieces of myself I hadn't even noticed were gone. Chris stopped by again yesterday to help me pack. He looked around, watched me work for a bit, then said, "You seem different, man. More settled." He was right. I was different. When Maya first dropped the Zach bomb on me, I felt like the world was crumbling. But now I see it wasn't my world falling apart. It was the illusion I'd built around our relationship finally shattering. There's more in the pipeline, but I'll save those for another update. For now, I'll just leave you with this. Sometimes the best way to respond to someone treating you like an option is to take yourself off their list entirely. This story's far from over. And I get the feeling Maya's about to realize her little break didn't go the way she pictured. Update 2. Thanks again to everyone who's been following this and offering feedback. It really helps. Things have taken a turn, and I want to bring you up to speed. Remember that job on the West Coast? I got it. Couldn't have come at a better time. The house is under contract, and the closing is set for next month. But that's not even the interesting part. Word is starting to get around about how Maya's exploration with Zach is really playing out. Turns out, Zach's still the same flaky guy he was in college. Time didn't change him, he's still unreliable, still a cheat. Here's where it gets kind of ironic. Maya's been trying to control the public narrative, posting vague, inspirational quotes on social media about personal growth and following your heart. So I decided to join the party, with a slightly different approach. I posted a single update. No drama. Just the facts. Big life change. Just accepted a new position in San Francisco. Sometimes when one door closes, another opens. Excited for this next chapter. The reactions came pouring in. Friends, coworkers, old contacts, everyone was congratulating me, asking about the move, and of course, wondering what happened with Maya. I kept my responses simple and direct. We're not together anymore. She wanted to explore other options, and now I'm exploring mine. That sentence hit harder than I expected. Because it was the truth, and the truth has power. Friends who were on the fence before started seeing things more clearly. While Maya was out there posting cryptic quotes about soul searching, I was taking steps forward. Calmly. Decisively. But the biggest shift came professionally. Maya's freelance work depends a lot on referrals and reputation, especially within the tech circles we both float around in. Olivia, a mutual contact of ours, 29, works in tech, used to send a lot of freelance gigs Maya's way. She reached out to me for coffee. "I just want to understand what's going on," she said. "Maya's telling people this is just a break so you can both grow individually, but something feels off." So I showed her the actual message Maya left me. The one where she said she needed space to see if she still had feelings for Zach. Olivia read it. Her face said it all. She wasn't buying Maya's version anymore. By the end of the week, several potential clients had postponed or canceled projects with Maya, not because I trash-talked her, but because people don't like uncertainty, especially in business. And nobody wants to work with someone who casually ditches major commitments. Maya noticed the shift. Her messages started coming in faster and sounding more desperate. "Why are you telling people about Zach? You're ruining my reputation. This isn't fair. I just needed time to think." I finally replied, "You asked for time and space. What I do with mine is no longer your concern." Then the real blow landed. Zach, in all his brilliance, posted a picture of him and Maya together. At the restaurant where she and I had our first date. It was painfully obvious, she was trying to recreate our memories with someone else. The post didn't stay up long, but the damage was already done. Our mutual friends saw it. And the few people who were still rooting for her, finding herself, storyline? They vanished. Even her own sister reached out to me. "I'm so sorry for how she's handling this. You didn't deserve that." And honestly, the most satisfying part in all of this? I never had to stoop low or seek revenge. I just kept living my life with honesty and clarity. Meanwhile, Maya tried to play both sides, and reality caught up with her. Yesterday, she showed up at my office. Apparently, Zach's back to his old habits, flirting, lying, disappearing on her. None of it was a surprise. She came in crying. "I made a huge mistake," she sobbed. "I got scared of settling down. I thought I needed to see if something better was out there, but I was wrong. You were the best thing that ever happened to me." I looked at her calmly. "No, Maya," I said. "The best thing that ever happened to me was you showing your true colors before I said I do." She tried to argue. Said she'd go to therapy. Swore she'd prove herself and rebuild the trust. But I wasn't that guy anymore. I just shook my head and looked at her. "You still don't get it, do you?" I said quietly. "This stopped being about Zach a long time ago. This is about you thinking you could keep me on the back burner while you went off exploring other options. That's not love. That's just convenience." She left my office in tears, completely wrecked. But me? I felt lighter than I had in months. The house closes next week, most of my stuff is boxed up, and in just a few weeks, I'll be starting a whole new life in San Francisco. Funny thing is, there are still people out there who think I'm being too harsh. "Everyone makes mistakes," they say. But this wasn't a simple misstep, it was a series of calculated choices. Every time she messaged Zach. Every time she lied about her plans. Every single moment she spent crafting her escape route instead of working on us. Those weren't accidents. They were decisions. I'll share another update once the move's complete. But for now, I'll leave you with this. Sometimes the best revenge isn't about getting even, it's about getting better. And that's exactly what I'm doing. Update 3, Final Post. Hey everyone, thanks for sticking with me through all this. This'll be my last update, and I've got some interesting news to share. San Francisco has been everything I hoped for and more. My new place has a killer view of the bay, and the tech scene here? Absolutely thriving. The people I work with are driven, creative, and best of all, there's no drama. Just a bunch of folks who want to build cool stuff and grow together. It's refreshing. But before I get ahead of myself, let me wrap up what happened back home. The house sold, and not just at asking price, we actually closed above it. The deal went through smoothly. It was kind of amusing hearing through the grapevine how stunned Maya was when she saw the new owners moving in. I guess she didn't believe I'd really go through with it until it smacked her in the face. And then came the curveball. Zach messaged me. I couldn't believe it at first. He sent this long apology, said he never meant to cause any issues, and then casually mentioned that Maya had actually contacted him long before she ever brought up taking a break. Turns out, she'd been laying the groundwork for months. Quietly setting up a plan B while telling me we were planning forever. Real classy. The best part? Zach broke it off. He told me, and I quote, "If she can do this to you, what's to stop her from doing it to me?" And honestly, I had to respect that. On the professional side of things, Maya's career took a hit. You remember all those clients she was banking on? Most of them moved on to other designers. I didn't have to say a single bad word. Word just travels in our industry. People talk. One of her biggest clients actually reached out to me. They said, "We heard about what happened with the engagement. We're looking for someone dependable. Any suggestions?" So I referred them to a talented designer I know, someone who actually follows through. She landed the deal. Karma, plain and simple. Meanwhile, Maya's social media turned into a roller coaster. First came the heartbreak quotes about losing your soulmate, then the passive-aggressive jabs about toxic people and outgrowing others. And just when it seemed like she was spiraling, she posted about starting her own design firm. 3 days later, she was back on LinkedIn sending out job applications. Her sister even reached out again. "She really thought you were going to wait for her," she told me. Selling the house and moving away, it shattered her little fantasy. But the moment that really sealed it for me? A video call with some of our old friends. We were catching up, laughing, sharing gossip, and someone mentioned spotting Maya in a cafe. Apparently, she was fumbling through an explanation to a client about why her portfolio website was offline. What she forgot was, I was the one who built and maintained that site. When the hosting expired, she had no idea how to get it back up. But that's not my problem anymore. Life here is good. I've joined a rock climbing group, started taking Spanish lessons, and even adopted a dog. His name's Zeus. Great little guy. Way more loyal than my ex-fiancée ever was. The tech scene welcomed me with open arms. Just last week, I got invited to speak at a local developer conference, an opportunity I'd never have gotten if I'd stayed stuck in that old life. Funny what happens when you stop dragging dead weight around. I had one last interaction with Maya. She emailed me asking for some old photos from our shared cloud account. Problem is, I'd already backed up what I wanted and shut the account down weeks ago. Her message read, "I know you're trying to erase me, but you can't delete our memories. Those 4 years mattered." I responded simply, "You're right. They taught me exactly what I don't want in a partner. Thanks for the lesson." Some mutual friends still say I'm being cold. That I should have more compassion, that she was just confused. But here's the thing, it wasn't confusion. It was a calculated decision to string me along while she chased what she thought was a better deal. So, what did I learn from all this? Sometimes, the worst thing that happens to you ends up being the best thing that could have happened. If Maya hadn't pulled this stunt, I might have actually married her. Years down the line, with kids in the picture, I'd have learned who she really was. Instead, I get to build a life in a beautiful city, with a job I love, surrounded by new friends and fresh energy. The heartbreak? It's gone. Replaced with gratitude for the bullet I dodged. Thank you to everyone who followed along, who left comments, who messaged support. You helped more than you know. You kept me grounded when I felt like I might fall. And if you're going through something like this, listen up. When someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. Don't wait around hoping they'll come back with a change of heart. Don't be somebody's second choice. You've only got one life. Make it count. Sometimes the best thing you can do is walk away and build something better. That's it for now, folks. This chapter's officially closed, and I couldn't be more ready for the next one to begin. Thanks for being part of it.